And we should be live. What's up, y'all? Coach David here with Metro Jiu-Jitsu, and we have
Professor Muhammad. Good morning, guys.
what's up, y'all? So we're gonna send out some YouTube links to those who need it. But first, I'm excited to talk about what we got going on today, Coach. You know what? You gotta. I'm switching from my phone. So if I go on my phone, we're gonna lose the video feed. So can you go to YouTube on your phone?
I got you.
Yeah, you got, or you could probably do it from your computer too. But while he's working on that, you guys, I'm not gonna. I hate to change this to talk about the weather, but dude, it is this winter's lasted forever, right?
It's been steadily cold. We haven't had those like nice 50-degree days that pop up every once in a while.
Minute, dude. It's been very cold. I've been wearing spats. My knees hurt when I don't wear spats underneath my jeans. So while you're pulling up that
Got it.
that you got the YouTube link. All right,
Yes, sir.
cool. So you can send it to wherever you need to send it. Because we're talking about, when we were talking about the topic for today, I was just walking around the gym yesterday, and I was just greeting parents like we do, and I just kind of talk shop or whatever, like, hey, what's new, what's going on? And sometimes you can, it's a continuing conversation week after week, like as you have it, and then others it's like new families, maybe I haven't met or known or whatever, and there was one that she just kind of shared so much about her her grandson and the details on it. I was like, that is crazy, just like, and I'm like, it's just it was a reminder of why we kind of why we opened, right? Like, not that we need a reminder, but I'm like, man, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the training or the business management of it, and I'm like, that this story right here is why we opened. And so I just wanted to kind of go into those a little bit. And then her main reason for signing him up for kickboxing was the positive male role model, which he doesn't have any anymore.
How old is he?
6, 7, fresh 7.
Oh,
Yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's like very young.
wow.
And he is very young. And so I kind of wanted to go into some success stories a little bit of people notable, could be kids or adults that we've had over the years. Obviously we're gonna leave them anonymous. We're not gonna share any names, details, or names or details or anything like that. And but I think the stories are really cool. So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I mean, we're seeing the same members,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we probably have run into the same people, and you make different connections, you have different friendships with people, and sometimes you'll meet somebody and they just like them.
Sure.
And there's actually quite a few people, members, kids, and adults really, that have gone through single family homes. Obviously the kids our heart goes out to them a little bit more.
Of course.
But I have a few. I mean, I have lots of I have a few. I wouldn't say I have a favorite.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but I will say.
What's one of them? Like, give us a story of one.
I hear the story,
Uh-huh.
and I have this problem remembering things, and
Okay.
I choose what I want to remember and what I don't remember. So when I hear a story about kids, there's this one family. I think they witnessed their dad be killed, or they found him dead.
There's a couple of them like that, but yeah.
And I think both of these kids are under 7 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so those are my little buddies. And if you didn't know them, you would never think that they're having this. They've experienced that.
Yeah.
The mom's definitely been proactive.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in the program for a couple of years. They're going through summer camp program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 months summer camp intensive, where the kids, they actually come from all over the city,
Mm-hmm.
and they they go through our leadership program. Jiu-Jitsu is included.
Yeah.
So these kids have been exposed to Metro Summer Camp.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we get to see the good side of them.
Yeah.
But I think those are two kids. They're really fun. They're my buddies. Anytime I see them, I always ask them if they brought me lunch, because there's sometimes they're eating snacks. I haven't got one, but always giving them a snack and just giving them high five. And they're can't say much for confidentiality and privacy reasons, but two kids are growing up without a dad, under 7 years old.
Yeah.
And they have they stand out to me because I see them every day.
Of course. They, those are, so to that point, right? Like there's, I think there's a shout out to the parents for whatever reason, right? Like in that one there, the mom's doing a lot of the heavy lifting now.
Yeah.
And I think.
Hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Mom's doing the heavy lifting. She's raising two kids.
Yeah.
They've witnessed their dad killed, or they found him.
Mm-hmm.
And she is disabled, legitimately and clearly disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's almost handicapped. She is handicapped legally, I'm sure. And she's raising two kids. And like I said, to give her the credit, she's running through the summer camp program, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program, kickboxing program. She's doing everything possible to exhaust all resources.
Yeah.
To give them the best chance.
Yeah.
And we'll go into stats later.
Right, and so there you hear people a lot. They're like, I don't. But I mean, first off, that was not by choice. Now those kids, they're in a fatherless home, not by their choice, by no one's choice, right? It was just very, very tragic situation. But the amount of fathers, I'm thinking of another family. He wants nothing to do with him. Literally, it was a result of a teen pregnancy, and dad's just he's a bum. Like he just wants nothing to do with him. I was like, is he live in the area? And she's like, yeah, he lives around here. I was like, and he knows he has a son, just wants nothing to do with him. She's like, no, wants nothing to do with him.
Wow.
And so I don't. Yeah, I don't think like getting the government more involved in our lives is a good play, but I don't understand what that's like. To me there's always there's one of the final forms of maturing in manhood is now you've reproduced, and now you're raising you have someone else to live for. You have someone else your decisions are no longer in a vacuum. When you're single, I mean, it's just kind of like you're doing your own thing. So, but you have someone else to live for when you have kids. I don't understand what that's like, to just know you have a son, and he doesn't even know dad's in the area, and I'm that's just sad. The kid's doing all right, and I was just thinking about this. I was like, man, in a lot of ways. And I've said this before. I can't complain about my life. Some of those kids, your two boys, the one I'm thinking of, have experienced more loss before the age of 7 than I have in my entire life.
Wow.
And their hand, and that's the hand they were dealt, And so I think that when moms reach out, they see the need for a positive male role model influence. And then I also, every now and then I'll be in these chat boards and I'll hear these parents they're like, I don't have, they say it takes a village. I don't have a village. You can find one. You can reach out. I've lost track of how many parents have mingled and they've networked within the academy. And then now they have a support group. Of course they have our support, but what are your teenage, kids gonna? You're not going to do a play date with their 7-year-old, so they got to find a parent with another 7-year-old who kind of does those things, and that is they're actively searching it out though. If you're waiting for the village to come to you, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. So, what is I don't mind you. Hopefully, you don't mind me sharing some of your personal information.
Yeah.
But you come from I mean, it was just you and your mom, right? Growing up.
My dad was divorced.
What was that like? What was that like growing up? And then what was your experience like from your mom, who's an amazing woman, Nazmia? What was that like, and what were some actions that she took to make sure, kind of give you a leg up, considering the uphill battle you were versing?
Yeah. So yes, mom and dad were divorced, and it happened at a very, very young age. So dad was in and out of my life for many years.
Throughout childhood, like he would come back in and come back out?
Yeah, he was in and he was out, and he wasn't around often.
If you don't mind me asking, would you have preferred him to? I always think of the Fresh Prince, like where his dad would come in and like only for a time and then he'd flake on it. Would you have preferred him in and out like that, or just not be there at all?
As a kid that's going through, that is in the middle of divorced parents,
Yeah.
and I would say we have, I don't know, maybe hundreds of members that
It's rampant. It's like the amount of blended families that we deal with, and like I'm not pointing the finger. We're stating observation. Yeah, these are just observations and our experience in doing this for on our way to a decade now.
Wait till we go over some of the statistics. But to answer your question of somebody who's gone through it, a kid just does not understand. People have to make hard decisions.
Yeah.
And adults have to make the wrong decisions to realize I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't ready for marriage. Or I wasn't prepped for marriage. Kids do not understand that, these things happen.
Yeah.
And I think, our society contributes to a lot of those things that are happening, but kids just don't understand, so they feel like, why? Yeah. Some of them say, why me? Yeah. Why this? But the big question is why they just don't understand, because a kid grows up, they're naturally and biologically I think a kid wakes up from birth and is expecting to see mom and dad.
Sure.
And when it happens that they don't see somebody of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
We talked about females, their first experience with a man is their father.
Yeah.
So he plays a very important role.
Absolutely.
And, on the flip side, mom is the first experience for a son.
Yeah.
But dad also has to lead by example and show somebody how to support and provide and be there for their family. And, when kids wake up and they don't have that, it's just, I can't tell you on so many levels, it confuses people. And so anyway. For me, even going through a divorced family, we're still prepped from a very early childhood about getting married and taking care of a family. Yeah. So I don't know what the statistics are with like either Arab or like the Muslim population in the country. There's been a lot of talk where it's really increasing, even for us, but we are prepped and prepared emotionally and socially, marriage, and commitment. It's 50% of our religion. In order to complete 50% of our religion, we have to get married. What we do once we're married, that's a whole separate thing. But yeah, it's we're prepped and prepared and talking about marriage and responsibility from as early as I could remember. And we started doing it with my daughters and my sons, and it's not about dating.
Yeah.
It's not about dating.
Well,
there's a big difference. We're preparing them about, marriage responsibility. So,
and
for me, even going through that, sorry to cut you off, even going through that, it was still programmed in my mind. I'm growing up and preparing for one day to get married. Like that was the thing. You have to grow up to get married, provide, and take care of your family.
You think? Well, do you think you think everyone is marriage material though? Like, you think marriage is for everyone? I should say. I know it's kind of a little bit off topic, but since we're going there,
I don't know how some people put up with some people.
yeah, no, I don't think
I'll say that.
I don't think yeah, I don't think not everyone is marriage material. I don't believe so.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe not everybody's marriage material doesn't fit everybody's marriage material, but you know, men and women are meant to get married. So one piece of material has to merge with another. And
well, I think so. I got married at 19, and yeah, there has to be you can't wait for the finished product. You know what I mean? I think there's an understanding and certainly a growth and a maturing that happens with that. But like there were some principles, and I mean, you and I have, we've got pretty objective in our perspective, faith beliefs and religious books that like of what a husband looks like. There's kind of like a code and outline and scale. Like now it's like there is no, I mean, the objective truth in America, there is no objective truth. I mean, ask someone, like, do you believe in absolute truth? A good majority will say no. And so, you and I have that. You and I believe, so I think it's different with our upbringing, our worldview a little bit, and than the rest of it. But as it comes down, I think you hit a really good point from the kids' perspective. There are some times where kids, I mean, I've got close friends and family, unfortunately, marriage is splitting up or whatever. And the kids, I think going through that in adolescence is extremely hard. I mean, I had so many friends in high school, like I've lost track of how many were either from a divorced home or they were getting divorced after the through the way, and it's a range of emotions from they blame themselves to, oh, it's my fault that they were doing this, or whatever it is. But there's some times where, like you said, they have to make tough decisions, and mom or dad get remarried to they learn the lessons from the first marriage. Statistically, the chances of your second marriage working out are even worse.
Really?
Oh yeah, the more times you get married, the less likely it is to succeed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, by a large amount. By like, wow. So if it's 50%, 50% of marriages fail right now, it's like seven. I'm gonna look it up. It's like 70% of second marriages, and the more marriages you go on, the higher the likelihood of failure of divorce. But not always, obviously, and sometimes they learn the lessons from the first one, and then they co-parent. They co-parent really well. We work with a lot of families that they co-parent really well. They get them in the summer program. They do the jiu-jitsu. Mom drops them off, dad picks them up. Those work, but a lot of times it becomes the child becomes a pawn in this game of chess of mom versus dad. And that's the most heartbreaking thing that I've seen is like they're a really good example. I know this family right now, and he's been talking to me. He's like, hey, I want to get the kids into jiu-jitsu. I said, sweet, I know a guy, and then he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get mom on board. And inherently, the fact that it's his idea, mom is against it. Yeah. Because mom doesn't want to like concede that like there's no way that this evil person could go the other way. I've seen it the other way too. Mom wants to get him, and dad is like, no, I'll find a place because I can, I've got better judgment or whatever. I mean, the amount of in the summer camp happens all the time. Like every day we're dealing with like blended. Let me talk to mom. Let me talk to dad. Okay, does dad know you're looking for a summer camp at all? Is he like let's get everyone on board here. It's got to be a joint effort. And unfortunately, the kids a lot of times they get stuck in this kind of the middle of this power struggle between the parents, and I think it comes down to who's right, and the kids just become a bargaining piece in there, and I think that's probably the worst solution of them. Was there what did you think you missed most not having a father around? And by the way, I'm going to add, your father, like, I heard the term, there's fatherless homes, and then there's practically, I think it's practically fatherless homes, emotionally absent fatherless homes. So, like, the dad's there, but, like, they show no attention to the kids. Not, that's also not the best thing. So, what do you think you missed most, or what was an experience, or maybe a crowning moment of, we'll call it adolescence or childhood, or something that you're like, yeah, I think I missed this, and I had to make it up elsewhere, or someone else had to fill the void. Did you have any father figures?
I did have father figures. I did have a few of them, and as I got older, my mom was going to school, and she was a school teacher. She was working a couple jobs, going to school. So she made it a point to educate herself. So I was around somebody who I understood during that time of my life, like ever since I can remember, honestly. Ever since my memory goes back, Mom has been working, studying, and going to school.
She's an incredible woman.
She is.
Your mother is really impressive.
So for me, what I took from that is one thing: learn.
Constant education.
Learn. Just learn. I just took work and learn. Work and learn. So that's the big thing. But what I'm missing, and this is for anybody who's has kids or maybe has gone through it, is everything.
When you say you're missing everything, what do
like
you mean?
what are kids missing during that age? We are missing everything. We are missing part of like we're born, and imagine leaving part of your heart. Part of your heart doesn't develop. Part of your brain doesn't develop. Part of your body doesn't develop. Like, it affects every single aspect of the body, of the mind, of the soul for kids who grew up without a mother and father. And only until they're supported with the right people,
Yeah.
can they then take what happened to them and say, I'm successful because of this versus I'm not successful because of this. But they are missing everything, and you can never, ever, ever fill that hole of not having mom and dad in the same house. You just can't do it. Regardless of how successful you are, you can't do it with your own kids. You can't do it with therapy. You can never fill, that's one of the gaps that leaves a scar that's you wear everywhere you go.
I wonder. Because I can't really relate to it.
That's why I got into martial arts, by the way.
Why?
Well, I knew there was a big part of me missing, and I knew there was a important part of me.
Yeah.
There was like an energy part of me, and there was like I wanted to talk to the world. I wanted to participate. I thought I could accomplish something, and even at a very young age. And martial arts said, "Okay, if we want to make you whole again, to go out and just be you." And martial arts was the door that was opened. It was shade that was lifted for me growing up without a mom that said, okay, this can make you normal again.
So I want to look into a couple of these stats. By the way, the divorce rate for second marriages is 65%. So and then I think it's 70 when it's third and beyond. All right, so stats on fatherless homes. And you might be asking, why are they talking about fatherless homes? Is because a lot of parents, I've hundreds, I agree with you, at this point of mothers, single mothers, whether by choice or by tragedy, have reached out to martial arts for martial arts, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, what have you, to fill a role model, a father figure role model that they know they can't. And that's not a dig at women. That's not saying that they're, poor mothers. Quite the opposite. It would be asking the equivalent of a Honda Civic to tow your trailer for you. Like, that's not what a Honda Civic is built for, or a Dodge minivan, a Caravan. And that goes in direct opposition to the feminist movement, for what they want to say. Oh well, you can be equal but not the same. Like so, they're two different things.
Let me just say something on that. This is my personal belief.
Sure.
I think I don't know where this feminist movement comes from.
Probably the 70s.
I don't know, but let me as a man, I'm going to tell you what feminine means.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's an important definition.
Feminine means a female who takes care of themselves. Feminine means a woman who can cry, or a woman who can speak in a soft voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Feminine is comfortable as a female. Feminine is someone who could attract a man.
Mm-hmm.
So this feminist movement,
Yeah,
like, there's nothing wrong with the feminist movement, but I think I don't know what the definition of a feminist movement is.
you're in a few different. You're in a deeper wave to it. You know, you're in a deeper way. So they would, and it. I believe it at its roots. It had good intentions, right? Equal rights for women. You know, I believe women should be able to vote. You know, I think women should be be able to work and and have equal opportunities. So yeah, I think those are all good things. But to take it the other way and say, well, we can do everything a man can do. That's just foolish, right? Like where are they on where are y'all at on the oil rigs? Yeah, like a lot of women climbing go get that job. Like I haven't seen a whole lot of women out with the masons pouring the concrete.
Yeah.
You know? So like you want,
and this is going back into like a mom raising a son. So can a female be a business owner? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Can a female be a boss? Absolutely.
Of course.
Can a female have be in different places of power? Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah.
Like they're like it's like being handicapped. If somebody lost their arm before they
You're
lost,
gonna have to elaborate.
I'm gonna.
A female's like being handicapped. Don't quote us on that.
Don't get me in trouble, David. Listen, if you can do 1,000 things with that body. If you cut one arm, there's probably a couple hundred less that you can't do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just math. So for a female, for a mother, a single mother, there's the majority of things that you can do, but there's just a few things that a single mom or dad can't do without having both parents there.
It goes the other. It's not one sided either. I mean, there's so many things Amanda and a woman can do that I can't. I'm just not built to do. As men, we're not built to do. You want to talk about watch a mother and a baby, right? Like it seems so natural to them. And then like a lot of times you see, I mean, a lot of guys I know that they're having their first baby now or whatever. And they're like, you watch them like these just athletic guys and they're like like they don't know how to, like it's awkward. They're kind of holding it like they don't know. Cause they just, and it's very natural, tender, loving kind of care that happens with just happens naturally with mothers. The way that they, Amanda is always like, she'll pick up on things with the kids that I wouldn't even begin to think about. She's like, he's breathing shallow. It's like, who's breathing shallow? Like, Jay, go get the pulse ox. I think he's breathing shallow. And then she'll like check on it and like his fever, like this 15-point inspection list on this kid. I was like, oh, if he wasn't actively throwing up or like as red as a tomato, like I might not pick it, like I like, so it's okay to have different purposes and different strengths and different designs. I mean, even the anatomy, right? The physical body, completely different. Like so that's all we're saying on that. A couple stats, and this is this is a long one. We're not going to get all these. Number one, would you take a guess at what percentage of youth who are currently in prison grew up in a fatherless home? What percent would you guess? This is from Texas Department of Corrections, so we'll call it from Texas, right? But what percentage of youth currently in prison grew up in a fatherless home?
I don't know.
85%. 85% of youth in prison grew up in a fatherless home. 7 out of 10, every 10, that are housed in state-operated correctional facilities, including detention and residential treatment, come from a fatherless home. And 39% of students in the U.S. from their first grade to the senior high do not have a father at home. That's pretty high.
Wow.
So 40% of students, is that right? National Public Radio, 40% of students are without a fatherless home and are 4 times more likely to be living in poverty than without a father. So what do you think is the, let's tie this to jiu-jitsu real quick. What do you think the role is of, that's why I asked if you had a father figure, you know, do you want to give a shout out to one of your father figures that played an influential kind of role with you growing up? Whether it was, could be anyone, you know, that filled a father figure role.
Like I said, I have a family that played a bunch of roles, and I wouldn't give a shout out to one person. If it was, it would be number one, my mother, for just for not giving up, and number two, of like, you know, in order to raise a kid, even with a mother and father, you need a community. So my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and obviously, you know, other than sleepovers, kids cannot spend that much time around a positive role model. With us at Metro Summer Camp, we give them 3 months of positive role models, right? Yeah. So that's like family. That's like a community. So the camp goes all throughout the year. Jiu-Jitsu, 5 days a week, sometimes 10 hours per week. That gives a positive role model, and it's constantly reinforced with the leaders that we have on staff as far as coaches. So that is a consistent. That's consistent exposure to positive role models. So with friends and family and community that I grew up with, you got to think about, you know, single family homes. When kids are exposed to like aunts, uncles, grandparents, like, you know, you go visit them and you come back. It's like a day thing. It's not like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where you get to be around positive role models 5 days a week and possibly 2 hours per day.
Yeah.
So imagine if you ask me, who's that positive role model for you that made an impact in your life? And let's just say it's my uncle, right? Let's say it's my uncle who is, which I did spend a lot of time with, and he definitely was one of them. And actually, I got to travel with that man. You know, I got to travel with my uncle. Osmi Elder is one of them, you know, and I learned a whole lot. I got to travel with him. I traveled around the country, and I got to learn, and he had a major impact on me. I know that was his intention, but after I come home from my trip, then what? My uncle goes back to his house, and I go back to my house.
Yeah.
Dad is not there. No positive role model. So just one more thing, the benefit of Metro Summer Camp and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is you have that one positive role model that every kid needs growing up in a single family home at your disposal 5 days a week, 2 hours, 20 hours a week. If you can put a price tag on that, like what do they charge for that type of therapy?
Oh, I don't know if therapy costs. No, I think it varies. But you know what? I will say too, you know, and you brought up a good point that we mentioned practically absent parents, right? Mm-hmm. So like they're in the building, they're in the home, but like they're not like really involved in their kids' life. So and I think I read somewhere, I'm gonna pull it up. The average one like quality family time is in the average household is 90 minutes. I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna fact check myself on that, but it's certainly under 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
You know, so think about that.
There's 2 people in my house, and that rule applies to my home.
Oh, certain. Oh, I don't see. That's why I like, you know, so like Fridays, I try to make it a point. Okay, get with the kids. Saturdays, we normally do something. See, I do get to obviously we eat our own dog food, so to speak. I get to see the kids on the mat. So I entrust them to the coaches. So, but yeah, as far as like 2 hours, I don't see my kids 2 hours. I don't see my kids 2 hours a day.
Did you know that of 130 countries, we have the highest rate of single family homes? 130 countries, the United States has the highest number by probably, I think it's more than double or triple digits of single family homes.
Why do you think that? Why do you think it? We're not talking about the tragedies, right? Like, why do you think? Why do you think it's so rampant?
Culture and value. Like, what do you value as a country? Those lying politicians can say we value family and we value this, and where are you putting your time and your money? But I think it's directly because of what do we value and what are we looking at and exposing ourselves to every day to reinforce what we value. And
that's a really good. I want to pause and kind of repeat what you said. You can value something, but if you show me your calendar, show me your bank account, and I'll show you what you value. Like, where do your resources actually go? Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money?
Yeah, it's not about how much you make, but it's what you do with what you make, and that's an important thing. Absolutely. Yeah, whether you make 1,000 a month, 5,000 a month, it doesn't matter. What matters is like where are you allocating that money? Is any of that money going to give away to help other people? Any of that money?
I think it should. Obviously
wherever it goes. Yeah. And so I agree to that.
What so there's a another stat here I want to pull up. We've got all right. Girls, here we go. Girls, how many daughters you got, Coach?
4.
You got 4. All right, so girls who live in a fatherless, no, that one didn't make sense to me. 57% of the fatherless homes.
I got an interesting one for you.
Do you have one? I got it's gonna talk about it. They're gonna break it down.
Okay. As soon as you hear the word India and poverty. Okay. We all laugh just like that. Okay. And then we also think, what are they good at? Probably a lot of people from Silicon Valley are coming from India.
What? This is like a... Oh, boy. Finish the sentence.
The sentence is this.
This has gone off.
Only 5% of people who, I don't know how many 100 million people are in India, have single-family homes. They could be a very poor country, but obviously India values... And that part of the world values mother and father, and
it is. India is a poor country, right?
It's a very poor country, but they value the marriage. The numbers say they value the marriage, and whatever they're doing there is working versus the United States, which has 60, 70%.
So I think, I will say this, right? Like, there's a, if we're talking about like families,
3% of China, and they're the smartest people. They're supposed to be smartest people in the world. 3% of them only have single family homes.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. So China. Yeah. I think there's just like I mentioned, I don't think everyone is marriage material. I certainly don't think everyone should have children. I don't think everyone should have children. I'm vehemently against abortion. I think there's other ways not to have kids. Amanda and I were doing having married couple relations for 5 years, and magically, no birth control, no anything, magically didn't have kids. It's incredible. If you don't want to have kids, there's techniques out there to not have kids, right? But I think that it goes back to culturally. There's the value. I also think we worship self in America. It's a very selfish culture.
Yeah.
It's a very pleasure centered culture. And so why should I give up my pleasure of sex with anyone I want if there's the consequences? If I get pregnant, I'll just take the Plan B pill, or I'll just go run and, to the nearest abortion clinic and get that taken care of. I think that's very pleasure centered. And the second with marriage, I mean, the illusion, I don't think Hollywood's helping the situation. The illusion that marriage is this perpetual, lovely, enjoyable 24/7. Oh, I love you, baby. I love you. And it's like, that's this super enjoyable thing. Marriage is difficult. Marriage is annoying. Marriage, it requires sacrifice and compromise. And marriage requires, especially for the man, giving up of yourself a lot. Giving up if your belief system involves the man being the head of the household, then you give up a lot. And like your guess who comes first before the kids, or before you, it's the wife and kids. And that's a huge hurdle we see a lot with men. Like men, I will see men that I know they want to do jiu-jitsu, but they've got a couple kids and they're like, hey, that's I'm gonna get them in it and I'll see if I can make it work after. That's why we have our family package. We literally get two members on the family, the third one's free. Okay, because we're trying to make it reduce the hurdle to entry as much as possible. But men will, like, if it comes down to it, and which I think is natural, you're going to give to your kid before yourself, right? But I don't think everyone who gets married should have kids. And so to your point about the India, I mean, it's a lot. How much, is there 1 billion people in India?
There's a ton.
It seems like there would be 1 billion people in India.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to, I mean, it's possible to not have kids.
So look,
I got a stat.
So an effect of growing up in a single family home is they have emotional regulation issues. You can Google that. It's all over the internet. They have low self-esteem. They have abandonment issues. Why this is important for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and our summer camp program is because a kid who's more confident requires less approval and assimilation to the internet, to the outside world.
Oh, dude, I want my
and to
kids.
Peer pressure.
The internet is. Do all your kids have access to the internet?
They do.
How old's the youngest though? How old is she now?
She just turned 14.
Yeah, but I mean, here's what I love about your family, dude. Here's really what if one person acts out, every other member in your household is coming down on them. Like, I like that from the outside looking in. I would hate that if I was like in your family. I'd be like, get off. Who are you? You're not my mom. You're not my dad. But like literally, if one of them is pulling any shenanigans, every other sibling. Well, like I've witnessed it firsthand, like a mob. Like, no, stop. Like, and the next thing I know, all 6 other kids are coming down. I'm like, that, dude, I would go ballistic if everyone was breathing down my neck like that. But it keeps accountable like that. I may have to eat my words, right? I mean, there's been times when I'm like, I'm never going to do this as a parent. I want to kick the can down the road of having Scarlett, of opening up the world to Scarlett's bedroom. Her metaphorically speaking of the internet. Like I don't want her to have a smartphone, a phone. Maybe get her like a Cricket. But I'm scared of it, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I'm really the data does not lie about specifically social media. Specifically, but they don't have any social media. She doesn't have any.
That one, no.
Yeah, good.
So here's the thing is, I don't think it's realistic to say don't give your kids social media, or Facebook, Instagram, and all that junk. Snapchat,
tough. Oh my gosh.
Once they have a touch of it, like they're relentless, they won't stop. So let's assume that all kids are gonna have social media because you know what? In school, they were communicating via Snapchat as far as schedules and stuff like that. I don't know what evil person thought that was a good idea.
Who was the students?
Yes,
Or the teachers were
the teachers.
stupid.
I
That's
know.
stupid.
It probably came from one of the kids.
Stupid.
But here's the thing: if we know that social media is going to be there,
Yeah.
and we can't get rid of it,
Yeah.
I think we have to accept that. If we do, this is my solution.
Yeah.
Occupy your kids' time with something else at some other point in the day that counterbalances the negative effect of social media.
Yeah.
You know, jujitsu, 2 days a week at 2 hours, 4 hours a week. That's a pretty good amount of time to help them recalibrate and refocus and socialize. 3 months out of the summer camp, you can have kids essentially check out, no smartphones,
Yeah.
no internet.
Yeah. There's no phones.
Yeah, like for 3 months. How would you like to say, you know what? Like I would. Parents, do not sell it this way, but detox your kids from the internet and the real world by saying, we're going to go to this summer camp. For mom and dad, you get the detox for 90 days, nothing except interaction with other kids, interaction with adults, arts and crafts and sports and activities. Like the point is that you cannot eliminate the social media, but what you can do is you could replace the other times of the day with something else. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, or summer camp is a perfect thing because it fills the time.
You know, and I think there's look. And again, I said I may have to eat my words as a parent. I'm really. I always think about those minor. A lot of them were minors, and like when the freaking trans community Twitter mobbed me, dude, and I'm just thinking about how angry they were. It's a far extreme example.
Yeah.
They were so angry and alone. They were alone and depressed, and I pitied them so much, you know, and I'm like, and so that started a whole deep dive into like I understand there will be pressure, external pressure. Right now, she's pretty Scarlett, my oldest. She's pretty innocent. I just don't want her to like, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That everyone's got a phone. Everyone's, oh, did you see this snap? You know, like, and it's like I'm missing out. Oh my my dad's so mean. He won't let me get one. Like I know it. Yeah, and I'm not envying it, man. But here's another interesting stat about fatherless homes. Teen girls from fatherless homes are 4 times more likely to become mothers before the age of 20.
Wow.
Which I'm not against. I'm not against early life events. Obviously, I'm not against getting married early. I'm not against, because then you're out the way, bro. Like we've got Amanda. Dude, I almost threw up. I was laying in bed the other night, and we were just talking, and we're gonna try for a 4th kid, and God willing, and she's considered like geriatric pregnancy now. She's like high risk at 35. Wow. She's already high risk because of other but like she's high risk now, and she's like, yeah, she's like, I'm ready to be done. Of course, we will be 60 at graduation, or when they're out. And I was like, wait, what? Like, and so I'm like doing math in my head. I'm like 60. I was like, no, we'll be 55, but still 55. Like, and I'm like, how old will you be when Amanda graduates?
High school?
Well, yeah.
So that would put
high school.
4 more years, 55, 54.
Okay, see, so you're doing it. Yeah, so I can just follow in your footsteps. And I don't even have 7, dog. Dog. Like, listen, and everything, that's the other thing, y'all. Like, if you don't have kids, like, what do you do with all your money? Like, what do you do with all your money? Because I wouldn't know what to happen. If we didn't have kids, like, I don't know what we'd do. I don't know. This is another stat, though. 70. This is a useless fact. 72% of Americans believe that a fatherless home is the most significant social problem and the problem facing their country. I disagree. Do you believe that? The most significant social problem? I believe that 72% of people believe that, but I don't believe it's the most significant social problem. What do you think?
I think it causes, like I said, you're not whole.
It's
It
a
causes
problem.
a whole ton of issues. Social problem. I mean, you could argue that, I'm sure.
It's a problem. It's a problem, but I mean to say
Well, ask the question this way: if you put back dads inside the home with moms, does it solve the problem that are happening that makes kids vulnerable to go out and get into trouble in school and the real world? Does it solve the problem? No, I think the marriage solves the problem. I mean, you took premarital counseling for years before you got
a couple months.
couple months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which helps. I think it's good. Yeah.
You know what? I did not do that.
Yeah.
I wish I would have. And at 18 years old, I was telling somebody just the other day, they asked me how long have you been, or how old were you when you got married? And I'm like, well, I tried at like 19, but my mom's like, I'm not putting my name out there for you. So you essentially have to co-sign for a person.
Oh, in Islamic or in the Muslim community?
Yeah. Like you put your reputation out there. That's like saying, hey,
your mother wouldn't endorse you?
no, at 18 years old, she said no.
She's like, yeah, I know my son. You don't want him yet.
Yeah.
Like, give me a few more years with it. How old were you when you got married?
I was like 24. And you know what's funny?
That's still
After I
young.
got my shit together,
Yeah.
I went back and I had to ask the oldest person in my family, which was my uncle.
Uh-huh.
And you know what he told me? He said, go think about it.
Go think about what?
Getting married. I told him I'm asking you to represent me to go ask for a girl.
You literally have to bring them with you?
Yeah.
Wait, no, hang on. No. Hang on. Wait a second. You have to bring. Walk me
David,
through.
that
Walk
happens-
me through. Walk me through. It's like so the whole. Like in America, it's like just my proposal was the lamest. I don't even want to share it on live because it was so embarrassing. It was the lamest proposal. But like literally, it's like just you alone, and you're like, hey, will you marry me, Amanda Renee Fox? Will you marry me?
Well, the thing is, if somebody's coming to
You got a
ask,
chaperone with you?
yeah, like that, it's still today. Listen,
Why? Like, is the woman like?
Okay.
Is he good? You're co-signing it. Like, if it goes south, I'm coming to you. Like, is that
basically, yeah. Yeah, so when I go to ask for, like my wife Nancy, when I went to ask for her, like I could say I have a job, I have A, B, and C, and dad and mom says, well, we don't know you. Who do you know that we know? So I had to bring some people that they knew and that essentially vouched for me. And that's how it went. Are we having a camera issue?
I'm just charging my phone here. Sorry, y'all. We got an electricity issue. I think I stepped in front of you. So you not only need to use your words, a co-signer, but you need a reputable member of the community that people are like gonna like know.
I'm gonna vouch for him. Listen,
what's the divorce rate? I'm curious. What's the divorce rate?
I don't know. Let me present it to you this way.
While you talk about it, I'm gonna look
Okay.
it up.
Some guy's coming in, and he says he's a brown or black belt. Okay, and he's in town. He's like, I want to visit. Can I stop in?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're like, sure. Where are you from? Who's your instructor? And he's like, I don't have one.
You don't.
Yeah. What affiliation? Who you with? What organization? Who you underneath? Nobody.
Okay.
Does that like cause any red flags for you?
mean, it just tells me you're probably not a black belt.
He could still be a black belt. He could still have black belt skills.
How do you not know who you're a black belt under?
They're not underneath anybody. So
But
what?
if someone gave you your black belt.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm not with them anymore. That was a long time ago. Like,
So answer the question, though.
Exactly.
Answer the question, though.
So we want to get to who they're underneath,
Yeah.
and who's going to say, do we know that person? If someone's like, I'm with Coach Alvarez out of
Arlington, Texas.
Arlington, yeah. That makes it easy. I'm underneath him. Hey, coach, this guy says he's underneath you. Do you know him? Oh, yeah. He's one of my students, or he used to be, or whatever. If someone says Completo, who Deion Thompson is underneath, he's like, yeah, I train with him out of Chicago. That's who I'm underneath. I've had dinner with that guy. I've taken private lessons and seminars with that guy. I've trained with Deion. I have a very clear reference point.
Of course.
Okay, so I might or might not need to call Dion or Comprito and say, hey, do you guys know this guy? Because I know what type of, I literally have ate with him, so I know what kind of like personality and culture this guy has from my firsthand experience. Okay. So I could reference that, or I could say, hey, look, man, I like you. You know, we know each other well. This guy says he's with you. Is he? And yeah, he's a great guy. I know him, or he's one of my students. Or he might say, actually, yeah, he used to be, but he's not with me anymore because of A, B, and C. And that doesn't mean he still can't come to train. It doesn't mean someone might not say yes to marriage. But what it does mean is I have somebody with a good reputation that's going to say, hey, you know me, or this is my reputation, or this is who I am and what I do. And I vouch for this person. It's up to you to say I accept it or not.
So,
I couldn't ask for my wife without my uncle's approval.
If they rejected it, so if let's say they just didn't, you know, okay, it's crazy. I'm gonna use a crazy example. Let's say Jibril wants to take someone's, and he brings me along, and no one in your community knows me, and they're like, no, I reject it. He can't take her hand in marriage, or he's got to go find a different cosigner.
You add no value in the form of a cosigner to that father.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that you can do to help him other than give a presentation that who you are. You're nice, you're likable, but we don't know you.
So there's no let's just say, you know, Jibril moves out of town.
Yeah.
And like, how are you so you got to be in the community for a few years before you could even like marry into that community then. Like, because people got to know who you are. Like, you can't just walk in and be like, hey, I met the love of my life. You know, I asked you to marry me 6 months in. Like, that doesn't exist. 30%, by the way, is the Muslim.
David, it's
31% divorce rate, which is 20% lower than
it's
the
a small world, man. If you met somebody out of town, it's a very small world. Every community is a small community. You'd be surprised who you know and who's connected to who.
Wow.
And I bet you at this point, in many states across the country, you'll know somebody, or somebody knows somebody who knows you pretty well.
Yeah.
So
well, social media helps, I'm sure, with that too.
Well,
to find them.
That doesn't, your likes don't count.
He doesn't look at my following.
No.
Like that doesn't.
Oh, yes, he has 10 million followers. He must be good.
Endorse him.
No,
quite the opposite, maybe. Who knows? So, all right. So we've kind of gone. I mean, there's like 40 of these. Yeah. Here's something that I think is, I believe this stat is very believable. But this is the most heartbreaking one, and this is why we do our best to help with them as best we can. The median income for a household with a single mother is this is probably an old one, 35.4, right? Average income. Median income for a home with a married couple raising their children is 85.3. No kidding. Go watch my language now after Nancy Chupi. Like no kidding, because one person is raising the family and the other person is earning the money, right? Or one person is raising the family and working part-time. I can't imagine. I mean, daycares right now, like daycare rates bro, like they're probably $1,200 a month, $1,500 a month. I don't know. It depends where which one you go. You go to like the budget one, it might be $800 a month, but I wouldn't send my kid to the cheapest childcare I could find. But like if you have to go to work and now you've got kids to pay for, like that's that makes sense to me, and I think that's the real tragedy of it, is because for whatever reason you get a guy who's a bum and he leaves. Well, now of course the mom's gonna stick with the kids, right? The dad's gonna get some child support. She's gonna get some from that, but it's usually not much. Like it's we're talking $500 a month or something, which is. It doesn't go very far in helping with these kids, right? And then it's always like mom gets to play bill collector, and they get behind, and then now you're 3 or 4 or 5 months behind. Yeah. I think that is, of course that stat makes sense, but here we go again. The kids pay. Like ultimately the kids pay, like, and you're always dealing around with a stressed parent, you know, they're always stressed about money. And which I think is just you know, like they pick up, the kids will pick up on that a little bit.
I mean, I just want to remind everybody that the purpose of this topic is not to put blame on the father.
No, not at all.
It's not to put blame on the mother. Okay, it's not to put blame on anyone. Just say that of the statistics where kids grow up in a home where there's mom is not around or dad is not around, they become a victim, and they are so vulnerable to emotional, social, psychological, and physical things happening to them that sometimes they can't help. They have no help to deal with. And, you know, the whole purpose of this is to say, look, these kids, there's a large number of kids across the United States, not just in our program, in any program, in any school. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts helps kids get through this tough time, because it's stressful for a single mom to raise a kid. It's stressful for a single dad to raise a kid. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and our program is specifically, we keep in mind is that who is our clientele? You know, it's not built for people that come from single family homes. It's built for the total number of people coming in, which is in America, it's what do we say? 70%, 60% come from single family homes. Percent of students that come from single family homes, they hit every school. Information, mechanisms, and training to help the parents raise these kids and help be mentors and role models. In our programs. And, you know, I think that's why we bring this up.
Lifelong.
Yeah.
You know, sports stop at pretty much lifelong.
Yeah.
You know, sports stop at pretty much high school.
Yeah.
You know, for most people, sport is when sports stop. Much high school.
Yeah.
You know, for most people, sport is when sports stops. So that's when it's going to be there. And it is a lifelong activity. You could take that all the way through.
Yeah, you know, I just want to add on that note, I've put my kids in basketball. What can I give my kids if I had to choose one thing to give kids swimming lessons? But
Sure.
What can I give them that can help all other sports?
Yeah.
What can I give the kids? What can parents give their kids to help all other sports, other activities? It's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So they don't have to they found something they love. We're not talking about seeing if they like it. We're talking about what can you give your kids that can help them in other sports,
Yeah.
in other phases of their life. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learning on how to fight your kids and look at it like, how can I help them?
Which we are, you know, we're at our hour mark, and
Okay.
and so I kind of want to actually got to hop off this because I'm doing tours with Coach Sam today in Livonia. But respectfully,
share this, share this. It might help somebody in Michigan, outside of Michigan. I mean, you know, these numbers are real and they affect a lot of people. And yeah, Deuce,